break from the rain all summer long. Green Bay, Wisconsin has definitely seen a lot of that activity. Speaking of a lot, 9 inches above their average rainfall is currently where they stand. We bring in Fox 6 Milwaukee Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks. Tom, the last thing you guys need is more rain. At first, it's great to talk to you. I feel like I haven't talked to you in so long.
I know, it's been a while.
It has been a while. I know Steve usually talks to you. He's out today, but I'm happy to talk to you. Now, unfortunately, we're talking under, some really unfortunate circumstances. Heavy rain pushing in, as I mentioned, the last thing you need.
That's right. And it's so interesting, Kiana, because you talked about Green Bay, which is getting hit hard again tonight. They have had so much rain. Meanwhile, here in Milwaukee, at least in the city, we are actually below average for rain for the month. So it's kind of sporadic where they've had the heavy rain. And, there's been a lot of severe weather tonight across the Iowa area, stretching into Minnesota and Wisconsin. And we are on alert for some severe weather as we go throughout the rest of the evening. Pretty interesting, though, when we talk the science of it, in that we have the instability, meaning it's hot and humid around here. Hot at the surface, colder as you go up. So that's the unstable atmosphere. But you also need wind shear, right? And we often talk about that, where if you were to get into a hot air balloon and go up, you'd need to have the wind both changing direction and getting stronger with height to really sustain big-time thunderstorms. We don't have a lot of that wind shear, at least here in southeastern Wisconsin. So we're not expecting massive storms, but storms enough. They'll be tall enough to produce some strong winds, in addition to some hail and certainly heavy rain because they're moving so slow. So some areas can use some rain. Many others don't need any more, Kiana.
Yeah, we're going to be watching those flood risks well into tonight. I saw a couple of warnings just to the north of you that need to be watched very closely. Now, I heard that you guys had a pretty interesting downburst, a damaging downburst back towards the holiday. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, Kiana, this was absolutely devastating. So we have a very popular, really vacation spot in the summertime. It's called Lake Geneva, and it is effectively somewhat in between Milwaukee and Chicago. So you get a lot of people from Wisconsin and Illinois that come to that hot spot, especially for the 4th of July. So here's what happened. We had a nasty complex of thunderstorms around midday on Friday, July 3rd, and that produced strong downburst winds. You've heard of straight line winds or downbursts before, right? Spills right out of the storm. And in this case, 90 to 100 mile per hour winds. And here's the deal. And this is what made it so devastating. There were a lot of boaters out on this large lake, Geneva Lake, which is near the community of Lake Geneva. It's a very large lake, and several boats capsized, and with one of the boats, 3 children drowned. And it was just absolutely devastating as that downburst came through. And in addition, it caused, hundreds of trees to be snapped, significant damage. And a lot of folks have asked us around here, it had to have been a tornado, is kind of what a lot of people are saying. But as we often talk about here on Fox Weather, it doesn't need to be a tornado to cause extensive damage. Downbursts can cause tornado-like damage, as we saw in this case.
Absolutely. That is devastating. 100-mile-per-hour winds. My goodness. Definitely something that you don't want to play out during a holiday weekend. Now, we do have the rest of July ahead of us, and we had a quick glimpse of temperatures where you are warming up. Talk to us about what you're watching for the rest of the month.
Yeah, really interesting, Kiana, because we're heating up again. Now, here in the Milwaukee area, we live next to a Great Lake, right? We live next to Lake Michigan. And so the winds, the wind direction is key for us here. And if we get the wind off the lake, it can cool us down a little bit. But here's the deal. As we go into next week, that big area of high pressure, the ridge of high pressure that's building in, may start to bend a little bit over us by mid to late week next week. And if that happens, we could end up seeing a bit of a cool down for a time as well. So I think roller coaster ride might be a good analogy by later in the month, where we kind of go back and forth. Then you add to that, if we have the wind coming in off of the lake, of course, much cooler. So that could cool us down a little bit locally as well. And in terms of thunderstorms, it's that classic summertime pattern, Kiana, where if we get enough of that atmosphere, atmospheric instability and we don't have a cap in the atmosphere and we have something to lift the air up, we could have some thunderstorms from time to time as well.
Yeah, you will have your hands busy for the rest of the month. We will have our hands busy here watching you and tapping into your knowledge there across Milwaukee. Tom, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Of course, we enjoyed having you this evening. I can't wait to talk to you again next week on Walks Wednesday.
Likewise, Kiana, it was so great to be with you. Absolutely awesome to chat with you tonight.
Absolutely good to chat with you. That's Fox 6 Milwaukee, Tom Walks. Thanks again.